if you left Blizzard games for any reason,
Yeah.
is this the moment that causes you to return, or are you still waiting for something? Good morning, Matt.
Oh, good morning, Will.
And good morning to all of you.
Welcome to Games for Breakfast, the only internet talk show where we talk about this week's gaming and tech news, but also we're redoing the entire format, Will. We're redoing it.
This
I
is
have
news
to tell
to
you
me.
this. Yep, I'm so sorry to break this to you now, but I have just come back within nigh 24 hours from recording this from the Eras Tour at the Alamo Drafthouse. I didn't go to the show. I can't afford to go to the show.
Right,
But they did a movie screening of a filmed version of the Eras Tour.
Correct.
And now we're just Taylor Swift content. Just like everything, just like the entirety of the NFL. Just like, oh, by the way, she's going to come to Final Fantasy 14. She's coming for it, Will. She's going to be there, so get used to it. Do not mess with Tay-Tay.
I actually don't think that I want that. Like, as cool as that would be, I do not, having seen what happens.
I'm joking. Listen.
Seen what happens, I'm a little existential fear, right? Like, there have been big streamers who have come to 14 and they've like crashed entire like server sets.
I like Tormex's comments. Oops, all Swifties. In all honesty, I really do like Taylor Swift. Me and Jamie were talking about it. We really like Taylor Swift. We loved going to the show of the show. It was very energetic. It was very fun. But we actually realized that we weren't Swifties. Like, I really like the music, but I'm not. It's not a way of life, I guess.
Right.
And I just, the joke that I'm saying, again, I think it's awesome, everything that she's doing. I just think it's so funny how, like, she's coming for it. It feels like she's coming for everything.
Right. Well,
I think it's very fun.
She's up there with one. I believe the Eras Tour is now like one of the most seen musical tours of all time.
Oh yeah, she's raking in more money than most. I think like she's like the 11th country on the planet or something like that.
Yeah, in terms of GDP. Yeah.
And I don't want to make this seriously. It's not going to be a Taylor Swift show, but like she does a lot of good work around the cities that she tours in. Like she donates a ton of meals to food banks. She does all this stuff. I don't know. She's just doing what celebrity I think should be correctly. It feels like. My favorite album is probably 89. Someone just asked that in chat, but we're not going to talk about this anymore because that's really not what this is about. What the show really is about.
You oversent the initial bit, and now you have to like slowly walk away from it in terror.
Before we get into the news, I do just have to say, this is my breakfast. It's a Void burger.
Is that the little gummy burger?
Yeah. It came free with the bag of candy, and
I don't think you're actually supposed to eat those.
Really?
I mean, like you can, but I don't think that's like it's edible. But
Mini burger gummy candy, net weight 0.32 ounces, 9 grams.
Right, but like okay, but no. Hear me out, Matt.
Ingredients. Okay, here we go. Ingredients. Love. Oh, okay, there we go.
Right,
That's really all it is.
Like you can. I just don't think it's the.
I think it's great.
Okay.
What are you having for breakfast, Will?
Monster and excitement, Matt. I'm really actually.
This is basically just a can of Monster.
No, it's not.
I'll tell you.
I like the commitment to take a bite out of the burger instead of just put the whole burger in your mouth.
I definitely got my teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, the bun came off. That's weird. You know, I guess you can separate it. Wow. You're learning a lot today on this show. All right,
Matt, tell us all about the exciting news that's happening over in the world of extra history.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, another quick thing. Taylor Swift is taking over extra history. No. Taylor, if you're listening, if you'd like to come do a history of something, please.
Yeah.
Regardless. I think last week sometime, like midweek, we crossed 1 billion views.
That means that like 1 in 7 humans on Earth has watched our videos.
I don't know if that's technically accurate.
No. That's how I'm choosing to interpret that.
1 billion. So thank you all so much for that. We did a community post over there. I know Kat posted that. And that kind of just blew my mind. It put into stark contrast what we do on that channel and even on this channel. Like, I don't know, it means a lot, and I got weird and emotional about it. And I'm glad that, even though, like, again, this show is going to be about gaming, and we will get to the main course as we go, as I'm sure the thumbnail has promised. But like, I don't know, I just really enjoy being lucky enough to be a part of this thing that has been involved in not only my life but so many other people's lives. And I think the entire team does such a wonderful job on Extra History and Extra Credits and Mythology, of course. And I don't know, I'm just very proud of it. So thank you all for watching that, or having watched in the past, or anything like that. I don't know. Didn't want to get too terribly sappy. We're also closing in on like 3 million subs over there. And the EC channel is closing in roughly on 100K, which is great, because then we get another little button thing.
Yeah,
I guess.
I actually, having been a part of the EC side cultivation and channel, I want to see the button. I don't want to hold the button. Like, I know Jeff's gonna Jeff or Matt's gonna get the button. I just want to see the button.
Sure.
I want to like perceive it. Yeah. Right.
Same.
So we'll probably make sure it either shows up on Design Club or Breakfast when we get it.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Cool.
But anyway, thank you so much for all that support, and thanks for sticking around this thing too. Again, you know, this the EC channel, which you are watching this on, or actually, if you're watching the future version, which we cannot perceive yet because we are currently in the past when speaking to you in the present.
That's right.
Thank you so much. We know that we've been changing it up a little bit over here. We're trying new stuff. It's really, really fun for us. We enjoy getting to talk to you more directly. And of course, nothing has changed. Same as it ever was. New animated EC every other week. Last week's, I believe, was, what was it? It was Fair Use. Oh, Joe and Jonathan.
Yeah.
I love having them on to talk about that sort of stuff. I thought this Prince story was fascinating. If you liked that episode, please give it a like, share it around. I really, 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 really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed what I will consider a high effort Nebula read, where in IRL Matt interrupted animated Matt.
Yeah.
That was a difficult one to pull off, but Scott did awesome, and shout out to Mike over at for helping me shoot that. It was great. Anyway, that's enough for announcements. Let's get
enough talking.
Enough talk.
More talk.
More talk. Will, could you give us a starter menu, please, of stories? Could you set the table for the smaller, not digestifs? That's at the end. Aperitifs? Is that a thing?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll
That sounds like a muzzy word.
The antipasta, if you will. Matt, I'm going to bring to the table a basket, and in that basket is going to be something smaller than it used to be, but that people may still want. Are you ready?
Sure.
So there's a new PlayStation 5, the PS5 Slim.
Yeah, it's the size of where my burger was.
No, it's not that size, but it is smaller. Oh. And it's another production line for PlayStation 5s. So hopefully by adding another SKU, they're going to be able to continue to meet PlayStation 5 demand. I don't know where it's at. I don't really.
You can get one. You can walk in any store and get one.
Okay, good.
It's not hard right now. The thing that you brought up about this story, though, Will, very, very quickly, is that it's not getting a lot of play.
Yeah.
And then, granted, there's other things going on in the gaming space right now, but normally a new hardware line for a PlayStation at least like bumps the needle, and this one didn't. It's kind of a twofold thing. One, I think the media landscape, as you pointed out, Will, is kind of crowded, and the other is while I love Sony's products, I'm getting really worried about their ability to promote them.
That's correct. Well, like they had the whatever the totally not Wii U add-on was for the big tablet.
That hasn't even dropped yet, I don't think.
Right, but the promotion for it was awful. Right? Like the fact that we don't know whether it's out yet, as like people who are relatively invested in the industry, and that it just kind of like, oh, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Was not ideal.
And so the only thing I actually heard about the Slims was that the disc version, which I think looks kind of silly. I love my disc PS5, but it's in the same body. Like it looks good. It doesn't look like the HD DVD drive from the Xbox 360.
It's true.
But this thing also, you can't see the small print. Vertical stands sold separately. Thanks. The horizontal way you put this, it has like this little metal pin. Like, so I guess when you put the disc version sideways, there's like on the top edge of it,
there's like a little pin that
like a little pin that
you...
balances it. Look, I wish Sony all the best. The PS5 is my favorite console I've ever owned. I just want them to market it better. Also, you can barely tell the size difference here. If you're familiar with a PS5 controller, you can kind of get the scale. But if you're not familiar enough, like a new consumer would probably just look at this and go, "Oh, that looks like a PS5."
Yeah, it's like it's shorter and also skinnier.
Yeah,
yeah.
A mentor. That's the thing too. The pin does in fact look fairly easy to break. The one thing I will say is, there have been many Sony products that I've looked at it and been like, that looks stupid and flimsy. And then it's not flimsy. Does that make sense? Like, I bet you that pin does work. Like, I thought the original horizontal stand, which you could use as a vertical one as well, if you did a screw into the bottom of it. It has two clips on the back, and it balances the bend of the PlayStation against it. So like the weight of the PlayStation pulls back and holds it in the clip. And I'm like, this is gonna break in 2 days. And I've moved that thing around my apartment more times than I can count, and it is solid through and through. So like, cool, but I don't know, be more proud of the thing you're making and let people know about it in fun ways and do an advertising campaign that maybe we'll see someday. That'd be nice.
Yep.
But speaking of things that I never see, but Will definitely sees. Will, your next appetizer coming up is block shaped.
That's correct. I would like to offer you 1 voxel of Minecraft. So in this voxel of Minecraft news, Minecraft Live was yesterday. We're filming this on the 16th. It's coming to your eyeballs on YouTube on the 17th. So Minecraft Live was yesterday. So there are like 2 broad hemispheres. One, every year, and I need to explain this. Every year, Mojang has a vote between 3 different mobs that they would like to be added, or that they think would be cool for the game. And then they make the community vote on which one of those 3 cool ideas will be added to the game. And the other 2 get abandoned forever and never added.
Okay.
Right. And you begin to see the problem with this, which is why. Like, there were 3 ideas this year. There was a penguin, and the penguin trips and falls and like is cute and also helps your boats move faster and has some other impact on the game. There was a crab, ruined crab, and the crab was going to allow you to build an extendable claw that would let you like move blocks further away. But the community voted, and the thing that we're getting is an armadillo. And
what's the armadillo do?
The armadillo, when you kill it, lets you make armor for your wolves. Which is cool, don't get me wrong, but also claw and trippy penguin, right? Like,
why is it a resource thing? Like they don't have the resources to make the things? Of the things?
That might be the claim, but that's countered by a very simple truth, Matt. How many copies of Minecraft do you think have been sold?
It's definitely more than 7.
That's true. It's definitely more than 7. In fact, it's millions more than 7. It's, as of Mojang's announcement, 300 million copies of Minecraft have been sold.
Wow, that's 299,999,993 more copies than I guessed.
That's correct. So,
Jinx!
Right, yeah, exactly. So they've made an absurd amount of money, right? And they keep doing this. In fact, the fan base for Minecraft is not particularly happy that they continue to do this. It stirs up a bunch of like adversarial relationships in the community between content creators who think that different things are going to be the best one.
Sure.
There's also this problem that no one's actually sure that the voting like works at all.
Yeah? Why not?
you vote in a Bedrock server, so like you can log into Minecraft and vote in Minecraft. You log on the website and vote on the website, and then they just sort of announce it. Like they announce which one won.
I mean, it would be pretty weird to not use a winner.
Right.
I guess this is okay. This is my marketing question.
Sure.
This seems like if I'm going to assume that all of the ideas are equally good in a Minecrafty way.
Sure.
For different people's proclivities and what they want to do in Minecraft. Let's say that they're all special, wonderful things that people would enjoy.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So in this experiment, that means that you're going to piss off 2/3 of your audience every time you do this.
That is correct. In fact, there's a change.org petition that was circulating before Minecraft Live to get them to stop doing this. Because, like,
Great.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. No, I feel kind of like it's the Jon Stewart on Crossfire of Minecraft. Just stop it. You're hurting the community. Please.
Well, yeah,
stop.
this is strange. It just feels like wow, really, Foxdoc? Nearly 500K signatures?
Yes. Yeah. The community, like, it's sort of a gimmick, and the gimmick is worn out. Right? They got a lot of press out of it the first time, but they only do like one major update a year. They do a bunch of smaller patches. There's only like one really major update per year. Last year was Trails and Tales. And so it feels really weird that they don't like do more with all of these ideas, right? And so the community is really hopeful that they will. Now,
and I get that it's not like not feeling as super big, like, but they could be like, hey, let's vote on the order that we work on these on.
Yeah,
like,
that would be cool.
This one will get out in 3 months. This one will be 6. The following will be 9. Like,
right.
And maybe that. Look, I don't know enough about Minecraft to know the ramifications of doing something like that, or any of that thing. That seems like a real feel bad moment for your community.
Yep, absolutely. And weirdly, that's like none of the mobs are the coolest thing that got announced at Minecraft Live. Like, no matter which one won, it was never going to be as cool as some of the other stuff they announced. They announced a new mob. It's a whirlwind that blows players back and can toggle things like switches, buttons, and trapdoors, which means you can interact with redstone, which is kind of cool. They announced a new kind of dungeon that's going to show up with a whole bunch of new blocks and new things, called a trial chamber. And then the last one, and I think this is really cool, they made a block that can craft things. Which, if you've ever looked at Minecraft Redstone, you know it's got a lot of potential because it's Redstone compatible. Like, you can set up a recipe and you can put hoppers to put things in, and then it'll make a thing.
That's cool.
That is, well, there have been mods that have added that capability through auto crafting for years and years and years. But now it's vanilla.
Wow.
There's a vanilla way to do auto crafting with Redstone, and that's going to even if you don't play Minecraft and you just like consuming Minecraft content, I will be willing to bet that when the first snapshot that block is in goes live, there is going to be a new Redstone renaissance.
Right.
Because the number of things you will be able to do now that you don't have to be the only thing crafting things is off the charts.
It's funny. Chat right now, Brad, you're blowing up. You're blowing up right now talking about Minecraft stuff. So this obviously is a resonating thing. Janet, let us know in the comments what you think of A, this process, and B, I guess the auto crafting. That just seems very, very useful.
Yeah, and
it's almost as if, Will, the game might be trying a little bit to respect the player's time. I mean, I don't wanna be any sort of newfangled, I don't want to be a hippie about it. Yeah. But come on.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of long-haired hippies,
definitely.
Whom I love dearly. Wait, is that Vincent? That's not Vincent.
There's no art of the new Vincent, so this is what people are circulating as concept art for Vincent.
That's not Vincent. Matt Mercer's voicing Vincent Valentine in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, remake, reimplementation, re-resonation.
Reimagine.
Remuxed.
That's true. Most people don't know what remuxing is, but yes, it is also that.
Look, I'm so excited for this. I actually really liked, he actually tweeted about it. He said, "A year of dreams culminates with this one. No game has had more impact on me than Final Fantasy VII did. To be a part of it, let alone one of my favorite characters in Honor Beyond Words." Like, it just feels really nice to have him voice that character. I know it's meant a lot to him, so that's really cool. Congratulations to Matt on that. And I guess, okay, maybe we can use this graphic because the second voice actor announcement in the gaming space that we have also wears a bunch of a red hat, really.
That's
so
true.
This could be a Gothic Symphony of the Night horror mishmash liminal space version of Vincent and Mario.
Is it?
I'm stretching here because this picture makes no sense. The new voice actor for Mario was announced.
Yep.
For Mario Wonder.
Yep. Kevin Afghani, and in the absolute best way possible, I cannot tell that it is him. Like, it just sounds like Mario. Like, we've both watched the Super Mario Wonder trailer. That's the game that he's voicing, I believe, both Mario and Luigi, but they're always voiced by the same person because you can't have the Mario brothers. Anyway,
okie dokie.
Okie dokie. I can't tell it's him. It still sounds like Charles Martinet, but it's not. It's him. So that's really cool. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're trying to continue a legacy, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was more or less what Nintendo said when they announced that they were changing voice actors, is that they just want to continue it. But, like, it makes sense to do it now, right? Like,
and I'm curious what Charles's role as, like, Mario ambassador is going to actually be.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just good. All right, Matt. I know nothing about this next story, so
is this our last appetizer?
This is our last appetizer, Matt. I need you to bring to the table. It is October.
Yeah, that's right.
I need some ghost stories. Can you please explain the Grand Theft Auto ghost stories thing?
Okay. So every year on GTA Online, which I do still play, though not as much as I used to, they have a Halloween event, and oftentimes it is really crazy and weird, though lately, like many Halloween themed time gated things, it's felt very repetitive. They have this thing where, like, if you go to certain spots, aliens will kidnap you and then they'll drop you somewhere and you have to do different it's like very strange. This time around, though, there's like, in all of these games, there's like urban legends, right? And everything, I think, from like GTA 3 on has had, like, you know, urban, but honestly, video games have been rife with urban legends forever. Like, even Mortal Kombat back in the day, like, oh, did you know the secret fatality of, like, whatever? Like, everyone talks, before the internet especially could just data mine and post everything.
Right.
Like, you had, like, a magic, like, ooh, what if this thing existed? So GTA has ghost hunts for Halloween, and you can go based on clues and take pictures at various spots to hunt these ghosts, and you get a lively livery. I forget what it's called, the sticker for a car. Yeah, and you can basically make the hearse look like a knockoff GTA Ghostbusters Ecto 1 if you get all of them, which I will be doing this at some point. But the cool thing is they actually turned one of the urban legends into an actual ghost, the 10th ghost. This guy right here, who is I forget his full name, but he was a guy who actually was killed in the story, who is the main protagonist of the Lost and the Damned on GTA 4's expansion. He was killed by Trevor in 5, and his ghost is actually, the community has thought his ghost existed in the space where he was killed, and he never did until now. So you can go to Sandy Shores, the recreation area, and find his ghost there. So they've taken an urban legend of the game and made it real. And this story is less about GTA in general and more about how I like when those small things kind of permeate into games. Because especially, like, in my opinion, there are probably more bad things to a live service game overall for the consumer than good things in a live service game. Depending on, I'm talking about due to human proclivity and greed. Do you get what I'm saying?
In the most general sense, I think I get what you're getting at.
Yes, it's not a matter of is one design better or the other. I'm saying normally, and I'll even use GTA as an example. It's literally just milking people for money on shark cards to buy the new stuff, because the way that you earn money, unless you hyper grind on it, it's not really feasible. I like, though, that things like this, and I know Destiny's done, I know a bunch of other things. Warframe does it all the time. Like, I like it when they add things that the community has talked about enough, just as a little extra Easter egg thing. I think it's a nice thing about a live service game to be able to do it.
Yeah, I'm just very in my feels, because you were like, live service game bad, and my immediate reaction was,
I do not think live service game bad.
Ooh.
No.
Okay.
I do not think live service game bad. I think that oftentimes there are live service games that do things I think great. I think Final Fantasy 14, Warframe, a couple others do things that are fair and equitable. And our dessert story today will talk about a different company doing something very equitable with their game that is outside of the norm. I'm saying
there are
even your Mortal Kombat 1s or your FIFAs or your other things that are just like designed to sell you fake currency after you bought a game for however many dollars anyway. Like, I guess live service game was the wrong phrasing.
There's additional risk in a live service game that it will develop that kind of monetization, that kind of relationship with its
It all
players.
depends on who owns it, who's in charge of it, etc.
Right.
So, of course, live service game not bad. But I was making a broad generalization about the ability to turn that lever toward the dark side that we've seen a lot of different times.
Yeah. Hey, Matt. I think that's the perfect segue. Speaking of the dark side, speaking of...
are we done with appetizers? Are we moving on to the main course?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of companies that have been pulling all the wrong levers in all the wrong ways, speaking of live service games that people miss and wish would go back to the way that they were, speaking of all of these things, Pat, it's time to talk about a certain CEO.
And this image is from The Wire. It was too good not to share. Though I don't want to look at his face.
Yeah.
Can we switch it to something better?
Matt, how about this?
Great.
Is this better?
Great.
All right, great.
Yeah, let's have Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball, it looks very thrilled at a bright, hopefully shiny future for Overwatch and all of the Activision Blizzard King properties.
Right.
Because Bobby Kotick, by the end of the year, at the end of 2023, will step down from his, I believe, 32-year tenure as CEO of Activision and then King and then Blizzard.
Right. So we're going to, I just want to lay this out. So we're going to talk a little bit about the merger, which is now officially crossed its last hurdle. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a lot bit about the legacy of Bobby. And then we're going to talk about the so now what?
Yeah, we're going to try to break this into 3-bit. Look, I think I have a good transition from section 1 to section 2. So let's just talk about the merger in general.
Okay. So, as of now, Microsoft and Activision Blizzard King have officially merged in that Microsoft now owns them. So it was a $69 billion deal that closed on Friday.
Nice.
Yeah, and lots of people are a little concerned, I think, about how this is going to shake out, largely because there are an awful lot of very large, very powerful eggs in the industry in Microsoft's basket. Now, we'll be talking a little bit more about that later, but it did cross all of the regulatory hurdles in many countries. There were regulatory challenges in the U.S., in several U.S. states, in the U.K., in the EU, I believe, mostly related to the idea that now one of the console manufacturers was going to control a large swath of the publishing for video games. And there was, Sony had a lot of pushback, like, hey, small objection. Are you going to keep making PlayStation games? Because we're kind of invested in that. And they were like, yeah. Mostly Call of Duty. Call of Duty seems weirdly to have been the focal point around which this entire battle was fought. which was over Call of Duty, which I guess makes sense. Again, if you're watching a breakfast talk show about gaming, you're probably not the average gamer who buys like 1 or 2 games a year. Statistically speaking, right?
And that's where that's where the real money from the gaming industry is made. Not necessarily, but like the way that we all interact with games is different from the people that interact with it buying just 1, possibly 2 games a year. And they have their game, right? They have their Maddens, they have their Call of Duties, they have, the game that gets the perpetual yearly next release that people just have played forever and they will keep playing. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just how a lot of people interact with the medium.
That's correct. It's a way that isn't typical of our viewing audience, right? Most of our viewing audience is in the percent of gamers that buys more than 1 or 2 games a year and pays attention to a lot of games media about games, whether or not they're going to play them.
Game design, indie games,
right?
That whole thing.
You're not in that group, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that happened as of Friday. The deal closed. There are a bunch of different ways that people are feeling about it. Again, some people have antitrust feelings about it. Some people do. Right? Well, fortunately, the union thinks that this is good.
Yes.
The Communications Worker of America union I've got an IGN article that says that they've expressed delight in the takeover, saying that it will be a quote new day for workers at Activision.
Because Microsoft is not actively blocking unionization as Activision has been doing.
Right.
They've actually made it a statement, I think, during the process of this acquisition that they're not going to do that, which is funny to say, like, hey, we're not going to do the illegal thing.
Right, yeah. We promise to not do an illegal, right?
This buy comes with a lot of value, but a lot of baggage. Like, this company, and granted, look, we're going to say a lot of things about a certain CEO. Here's the thing I will say before we get into all of that. He made the shareholders money.
He did.
He took a lot of either losing money propositions or successful money propositions and turned them into more money, his fiduciary duty complete. But there's a reason why it's called fiduciary duty, and that's because it smells like poo for the rest of us. He's gone, baby! He's gone! Bobby's gone! That's it! He's out, well, at least in 2024.
Yeah, so he's agreed to stay on until the end of 2023, and
can we say this correctly, though, Will? He's agreed to stay on until the end of 2024.
Or 2023, yeah.
So till the end of 2023, starting 2024.
That's
my
right.
bad. My point being, I love this golden parachute total nonsense of like this deal. I believe the wording was that Phil Spencer asked him to stay on to oversee the transition until the beginning of 2024. And I'm like,
he doesn't do anything.
He makes money for the shareholders, Will. But my point is, I love that. I guarantee you that was baked into the sale. Like, we have to say it like this. Sure. And when you have to do that, again, I guarantee this to the best of my non-knowledge of the entire situation, but come on. That feels all right.
Yeah.
So I cannot believe it. And how fast honestly, I thought that it would go through and there'd be like a 6-month period or like a 9-month period, like really sort of doing it. But the fact it's going to be less than 3 months from the announcement to his exodus shows kind of what a toxic noose this man's career was around the neck of a lot of these companies from everything outside of a profitability standpoint.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we thought we'd take a little trip down memory lane because he's been out of the news cycle a bit, We thought we'd go a brief trip down memory lane as we celebrate Bobby Kotick leaving. Goodbye. Bye.
Here's the thing. Janet, let us know how and Brad, you can let us know right now too, but in the comments, let us know what you know about this person.
Yeah.
Even right now, start typing it right now.
Right.
So that we'll see if we hit those things. Maybe you don't know anything about him.
Right.
And to that I say, I'm Cypher from the Matrix eating that steak. Ignorance is bliss. Like that's a lovely that's a lovely sentiment.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so lots of Brad knows nothing.
Brad doesn't know a lot of things here. That's fun. Oh, good. We can chat through some stuff.
All right. So,
there's a lot happening.
We're not going to dive too deep into any of these particular accusations because we've done those before and those have been done. This is just a brief recap of all of the things that Bobby Kotick has been a big part of as part of his career. Are you ready? Okay. So the first and biggest one is that he has been credibly accused of really gross abuses of power in the forms of sexual harassment of people who worked at Blizzard. He's also covered for people who have done even more gross things at Blizzard.
Specifically, he's basically what many reports, I believe one was in the Journal and one was in there was a couple other places, etc. Was basically saying like he was covering up a lot of people's misdeeds in those departments for years.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. And then like, you know, little things like threatening to kill his assistant in 2006.
Now, Will, hold on.
Yeah.
He settled that out of court and said he deeply regrets that, and it was a he shouldn't have said it, of course, but whatever, and they filed out of court. There's a whole statement about that. Like, it's so...
Right.
Sure. Okay.
Right,
How about this? How about his general desire to make games less fun and innovative? He basically in 2009 at a Deutsche Bank conference or something was talking about the credibility, like how he saw physical retailers in games, and he went on this weird tangent. I want to see if I can find the quote. It's insane that you'd say this to a group of people that are like, he basically said, oh, I gotta find it. Maybe we move on and I can dig for it. But he basically said he wanted to take the fun out of making video games.
Right. He wants to make it a profitable industry and does not care about the fact that fundamentally they're making art.
I got it. Here we go. So I believe Jatil Patel from the Deutsche Bank Securities Analyst asked the question, what do you think the retailers' willingness these days is to hold inventory on the video game side? Are they building positions today or are they still very reluctant and very careful how they are buying? They were talking about, I think this was in context of the economy and how spending was going.
Yep.
And Bobby said, I don't think it's a specific to video games. I think that if you look how much volatility there is in the economy and dependent on your view about the macroeconomic picture, I think we have a real culture of thrift. And I think the goal that I had in bringing in a lot of the packaged good folks that we brought into Activision 10 years ago was to take all of the fun out of making video games. It's a weird pivot to that question. He continues, I think we'll definitely have been able to instill the culture, the skepticism and pessimism and fear that you should have in an economy like we're in today. And so while generally people talk about the recession, we're pretty good at keeping people focused on the deep depression. I don't know what he's saying. Like,
I just want to point out that he viewed like, we've been pretty good about keeping people afraid. Like that's fundamentally like,
but like it's not even like I kind of see like 20% of where he was answering that question from a retail seller's perspective.
Right.
But it's just weird. That's the other thing. Everyone, he's just weird. He's just weird.
He's just
in weird ways.
Right. Okay. So in addition, you remember how we were talking about how he's definitely covered for some people who promoted terribly toxic and harmful work culture, particularly towards women at ABK. Well, then he said he tried very, very hard to gaslight the entire public into thinking that that's never been the case, and it never happened. And we were all just having a fever dream. He was like, no, it's never been true. There's like a whole article with him and the gamer from a while ago, where he was just like, no, we've never had this systemic problem, never, not once, ever. So after being caught refusing to own it, and then
two things. One, Doran chat says Weird isn't bad, but he might be bad. Very fair. That is a fair analysis, because I don't think, I mean, I'll just throw this out there. Will and I aren't exactly not weird.
No, we're very weird.
But we also don't do things, and this is a rumor, but I want to bring it up because Bass brought it up. We also don't do things like steal our grandmother's coffee cup when we're a kid and sell it. There is a weird, dumb story rumor. I have no source material, but I have heard this before. Sure. Again, this could be incredibly false, but it was just a nice back and forth there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, okay.
Allegedly.
By the way, so along the long list of things, if there was, according to Bobby Kotick, if there was a culture of harassment and workplace abuses of power and all of that, it was definitely the labor union's fault. It was definitely the move to organize that brought that to ABK. It was definitely there somehow.
There's a story in gamesindustry.biz about this. It's
yeah, right. So and by the way, this isn't just us like saying random things. This is
the story of over years that tons of media outlets well, I'm sure we'll put some of the stories in the description from our show notes, just so you can kind of go through.
Yeah. Right.
If you want. But the point is, I think, wait, what's our last one? Don't we have one other?
We have two really good ones.
Okay.
One of them is that it's not just us that thinks that he's slimy and needed to be gone. New York State almost blocked the Microsoft deal on the grounds that Bobby Kotick was too slimy to be involved in that deal. There's an Engadget article about that. They almost blocked it because he was involved. And then the last one, and this one isn't like nearly as bad as most of the other ones, but it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
Is that his latest and probably last story, other than him leaving goodbye forever, we don't want you, farewell, is he's promoting the idea that they could bring back Guitar Hero by using AI technology.
Let me see if I can find.
Bobby, we're not friends. Bobby, we never will be. But if somehow this finds it to your ears, stop.
Well, he can't. He is. He's stopping. He's going away. He's stopping. This was in an article from The Gamer. Let's see. He talked about the resurgence of a Guitar Hero series. We did a great episode, the first one on this channel, actually, The Death of Rock Band, How a Genre Died in 5 Years, where he says, a big part of what I've seen in Microsoft is research, Kotick says. They do development in areas that are extraordinary, and being so able to tap into their AI and machine learning capabilities, the data analysis, and the new ways of the data analytics, and the new ways of thinking about graphics, I just see unlimited potential for what we do. We're uniquely situated as a company because we have the very best franchises in all of video games. He continues, the reemergence of Guitar Hero and other things would not be possible without the different types of resources. And so the endless possibilities of the future are just incredibly exciting. And here's the last bit. We haven't made a Guitar Hero in a long time, and I think with AI and some new technologies that we can employ, we could create a really compelling new Guitar Hero. But you know, I can't share with you all the things we're working on because we have a lot of new things in production and development that require better mastery of these new technologies. Maybe, look, and we're reading that from that article. I wonder if there's some pieces in the middle that sort of fill in the gaps there. Like, I'm just saying. But like, Will and I were talking before the pre-show, which you should come to. You should come to the pre-show.
Yeah.
We do the pre-show on Twitch on Mondays at 11, where we just sort of ramp up and get ready for this show if you ever want to. We have some new people from Janet, from YouTube, moving over into Brad, which is very nice to see y'all over here chatting live. The only way... I was like, why? What what could AI do in a Guitar Hero setting?
So there are two big ones. There are two big ones. One of them was my original thought, which is they could just AI chart all the songs, or create an AI that charts songs on demand, so that you could, and then like sell that as like an add-on or a pack or the fundamental game. So rather than having to do all of the licensing, they're sidestepping that by saying that we don't own the rights to do any of that. People are using their own music to do it, so it's cheaper for them to make the AI that charts your own music for you, and then you could like I don't think Taylor Swift is going to agree to have any of her songs in Guitar Hero probably anytime soon, but
unless they paid a
right, more money than ABK's worth. So they'll just make an AI that charts your song for you, right, as like an idea. And there's a different legal fight to be had over that, obviously, but I think they have more of a leg to stand on there.
It's just, yeah. Anyway, he gone, or he gonna be gone.
He gonna be gone. Gonna be gone. All gone forever. Gone by. Bye. No more Bobby. Bobby, go bye. Oh my God.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Wait,
yes.
You're okay? You want to go okay? I have okay first. If you want to go, you want to be okay first?
You could be okay first.
Okay. I'm going to say 1-800-I-FEEL-OK was a great number that you could call from a soda company back in the day in the late 90s, where you could just call and let people know why you're okay. It was really, really fun and totally not creepy at all. But that's not what I want to say. What I want to say is we all know how absolutely again, gaming show, so we won't get into it. The world is a scary, rough place right now. And inside the gaming space, we are constantly bombarded, I feel like, with exciting games but bad news. If that sort of feels correct.
That feels correct.
And I want to say that we are incredibly happy, I think I speak for Will and myself, to say that Bobby leaving will help a company who owns a lot of IPs and games that we have previously liked in the past. The big, I was going to say hanging Chad, that's not the right analogy. The big asterisk here is that it's Microsoft buying a giant company. We are consolidating. We aren't, but the games industry is consolidating. It is becoming more and more monopolistic. And that is bad, in our opinion. But I really want... I feel like in the news cycle of things, not the game announcements and not the hype and like whatever, but in the news cycle of things, a lot of times we talk about bad stuff. And we're going to talk about the bad stuff about the monopoly. But I just wanted to really highlight the joy of getting, even with the contingent of a golden parachute, even with the contingent of a formation of a monopoly, how ecstatic I am to be filled with the sliver of hope that like maybe these properties and games and companies might be run slightly better, or at the very least not have human rights violations like built into that. Like, it's just,
yeah.
I want to be hopeful for this. But I also, I don't want people to think that we're like, yay, Monopoly, because no.
Right.
It's a hard balance, but I wanted to talk about my joy of this situation, even though there is a darker side to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Two things can be true at the same time, and this is a general problem that lots of companies, and we struggle with this in conversation and like everything. Two things can be true. It can be perceived as good and hopeful. Bobby Kotick is gone. It can also be not great that Microsoft now has a giant monopoly hanging over the games industry, like that giant evil saucer in Independence Day over the White House. Like, it's not great to be under that looming shadow, right? But we're gonna focus on both things that are both true, right? And I think for a lot of people, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Matt or other diehard Blizzard gamers, I kind of fell off Blizz. My last Blizzard game was Heroes of the Storm. That was And then they just kind of took that out back and were like, all right, you're going to the farm upstate.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been out for a while, but it feels like Bobby's involvement was sort of the symbol of the decay, the moral decay of Activision Blizzard King.
It was the bat symbol that took all of the hits and allowed the company in itself to run certain ways and have distraction points. Like in a lot of ways, he was a sieve or like a sponge that just sort of took all of the bad to it. And in a way that can distract from getting fixed. That can help distract from actually fixing systemic problems. Now, look, Microsoft wants to make money. It's Microsoft. Come on.
Right.
But they're actively saying they're not going to impede unitization. I hope that is true. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt until we hear otherwise, because you're publicly saying it. So, okay. It seems like they wanted Bobby out real quick, which means they saw him as a problem, which means they think they can probably not only, again, step one, make money, but do it in a way that is not actively, that is hurting less people.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I want to be careful sort of what I'm saying here.
Right.
And then it feels like there is a chance that I could be excited about Overwatch again, or buy Hearthstone expansions, or like things that like. Again, I know any minor protest from any one of us is like that little wolf meme, just howling, not really doing much. But the way that this deal went through and how it almost stopped because of him, and how they had to like they just wanted to get him out as quickly as possible, that does say they think they're running, like Microsoft at least thinks that they thought that they saw potential to make money running these companies in a different way. Because if they thought they could keep making money with the ways that Bobby was currently running it, they would have kept him.
Yeah.
They didn't. So I really do. I have hope, even though it's weird.
Yeah. And so as we move into this next part on like what the Microsoft trust thing actually is, Janet, sound off in the comments. Is this enough? Is this like, this is the moment, right, that a lot of people have sort of quoted or pointed out as being a moment of pivotal change? If you left Blizzard Games for any reason, is this the moment that causes you to return, or are you still waiting for something? And if you're still waiting for something, is there a specific moment?
What's the thing?
What is the thing, right? What would it take to get you back as a customer? And is that even possible? Because it might not be. And I think that that's totally fair and reasonable. And I'm not saying that any of those options isn't well within your purview as a consumer. It of course is, right? I just want to know what that line is for you, because I'm genuinely curious. I don't think I'm going to go back to Blizzard, but I also think it's because in the time that I haven't been playing Blizzard games, I found other games that I just want to play more than Blizzard games.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, Blizzard, for me, growing up, felt like the company that you trusted because their games came out when they considered them done. It was made by a group of people that, and don't get me wrong, let's not, there were problems at Blizzard before Activision bought it. Let's not pretend like there weren't. As far as from a making games perspective, they at least had consumer trust because they kept releasing excellent things on their timetable. It used to be kind of like the joke, like, oh, when's StarCraft 2 coming out? Oh, when it's done. Like, and when Activision bought it, that slowly but surely changed. Many of the devs left to start their own things, etc. And I feel like that feeling of innovation, or even like, and it doesn't last forever, of course, but like an up and coming game dev or game studio was just sort of sucked dry, and like the husk was left, like the corpses of these IPs was left dancing on rotting strings. And hey, listen, for a brief and beautiful moment, they did manage to acquire more profit for the shareholders. I don't know. There are things that would make me come back. Because I do really like the IPs. We'll see what happens with it. But right now, speaking of IP, y'all.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can do this. Do we think I could read all of the IPs that Microsoft now owns in under a minute?
I think you should absolutely try.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna mess this up. Do you want to put do you want to have a timer on your end and you tell me when to start?
Yes, I will pull out my phone and I will begin a timer. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
3D Ultra Pinball, Call of Duty, Call of Power, Crash Bandicoot, Dark Rain, Diablo, Extreme Paintball, Portboys, Fantasy Baseball, Gabriel Knight, Geometry Wars, Guitar Hero, Gun, Hearthstone, Heavy Hitter, Heretic, Activision Storm, Hexen, Interstate 76, King's Quest, Lorabo, Mystery Series, Lost Vikings, the Lost Vikings, Matt Hoffman to BMX Pro, Overwatch, Phantasmagoria, Pitfall, Police Quest, Prototype, Quest for Glory, SWAT, Singularity, Skylanders, Soldier of Fortune, Space Quest, Spyro, StarCraft, Tenchu, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, True Crime, Ultimate Soccer Manager, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, and Zork. Then on King we have Alpha Betty Saga, Blossom Blast Saga, Bubble Saga, Bubble Witch Saga, Candy Crush Saga, Diamond Digger Saga, Farm and Saga, Hope Deluxe Saga, Papa Pear Saga, Paradise Bay, Pepper Panic Saga, Pet Rescue Saga, Pyramid Solitaire Saga, Rebel Rider, Scrubby Dubby Saga, and Shuffle Cats. Then Bethesda, we have Commander Keen, Deathloop, Dishonored, Doom, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Hi-Fi Rush, Prey, Quake, Rage, Redfall, Starfield, Evil Within, Wolfenstein. Then Xbox, of course, owns Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, Banjo-Kazooie, Bard's Tale, Battletoads, Blinks, The Time Sweeper, Blue Dragon, Conquer, Costume Quest, Crackdown, Crimson Skies, Fable, Forza, Gears of War, Halo, Killer Instinct, Kinect Sports, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Pit Down Madness, Minecraft, Perfect Dark, Pillars of Eternity, Project Gotham Racing, Psychonauts, RC Pro-Am, Rise of Nations, Siberian, State of Decay, Thunder, Hydro Thunder, Arctic Thunder, etc., Viva Pinata, Wasteland, and Zoo Tycoon. That was longer than a minute.
A minute 11.
Really?
A minute 11. Yeah. You got close.
That list comes to us from Kotaku, by the way.
Right, but those are but like and those are all franchises that are owned by one umbrella company. I want to point out that here's the really terrifying part, right? Earlier in the show, we talked about, I'm going to let Matt catch his breath, by the way.
Please.
Right. Okay. So Minecraft just passed 300 million copies sold. And that's one line on in one segment of this, right? King notoriously,
apparently they have a lot of sagas,
right? Candy Crush Saga, and I think it's Bubble Saga, but Candy Crush is a well-known, very profitable mobile IP, right? And then in the Activision Blizzard thing, we've got WoW and what was the other big one? And Hearthstone, and those are probably the two big. Oh, and Call of Duty, yeah. WoW, Hearthstone, Call of Duty are probably the biggest ones, with Overwatch and Diablo being up there. But I don't think either of those is as powerful as the Warcraft IP is, just because the Warcraft IP has been around longer and World of Warcraft's worth quite a bit because it may.
Although I think Call of Duty destroys it. Like
it does. It does. It just doesn't. It's so big that it usually feels like its own thing. Yeah. To me. At least, like, there's Call of Duty, and then I'm like, who makes that? It's Call of Duty makes Call of Duty, right? It's self-generating. Oh, that's right. ActiBliz makes it. Ugh. Right? So
yeah, there's a real No More Movie Stars vibe when it comes to Call of Duty.
Yes.
It's a studio, it's a Marvel film, not a Chris Hemsworth film. It is a Call of Duty game, not an Activision game. It's very interesting.
Right. So the number of so let's do this one. Okay? How many gamers do we think there exist who don't play any of the games that Matt just mentioned? I know some
right?
I know some people in chat are going to sound off and say that they're not, and like that's true. But again, reminder, you're not the average. Right? So I think there's this very interesting thing where like Microsoft might actually be at the point where they control IP that impacts
every wing of gaming.
The vast majority even of gamers. And they're trying to get more, right? Shameless plug here. Jeff and I are going to be talking this week on Thursday about the fact that the day that this comes out on YouTube, Diablo is moving to Steam. So we're going to be talking about that in Design Club, actually on Wednesday. So Design Club Wednesday, the day after this comes out, be on Twitch. There'll be stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So like
the thing, and even just sort of tying into that, the announcement that they had ready for this, that Xbox had ready for this, was this thing about like welcoming these new IPs and companies home. And they ended it with this weird, you've probably seen the trailer, but it's basically like ends it with like Xbox, Activision, Blizzard, King, you. And it's like,
has big Borg vibes, you know? Has big, like, your cultural and technological distinctness will be added to our conglomerate. Resistance is futile, give me your wallet. Like
and look, many people in Brad right now have been saying stuff about Game Pass. Right now, listen, Game Pass is, I think, we could probably say without any hyperbole, that is probably the best deal in gaming.
Yeah.
For what you get. However, please look at the precedent of other streaming services. Look at what's going on right now. We can't look at the 6 month or the year. We have to look a couple years down the line.
Yep.
Because here's how I think this is going to play out. Bunch of Blizzard and Activision games are going to get added to Xbox Live, and everyone is going to laud this publicly when it is first up there, that everything is just where this is so great. It's such a great thing for gaming. It's going to be so good. And then when they up their subscriptions by a third or something crazy, well, they're going to have to up the price. Because it's just so much offering. It's going to be there. Like they can't keep it at this price. They have to move it a couple bucks. Oh, and then this game's going to disappear, and this game's going to disappear because just discoverability. It's not letting other games be seen. So we can't have that. And then they're going to up the price again because people might be password sharing, and they can't have people say those words. They've already cracked down on it on a technological level, but they really just, it feels still bad for them. So they're going to have to up the price a couple more bucks to do that. And then if this machine keeps going, we'll be stuck. There'll be a methodology of not owning a game but renting it. And that, I have no proof other than precedent in similar fields.
Yeah.
But how could that not be a goal here? They'll say kicking and screaming up and down that that's not what's happening, but if a company's job is to make all the money, that's the way you do it. Yeah. At that level, not enough money and not a ton of money, all of the money.
Yeah, it's good. They're doing a capitalism, precisely one capitalism.
So I think that's how this is going to play out over the next 6 months to a year. It's going to be overwhelmingly positive, and we are going to see a lot of value until people are comfortable adding Xbox. Microsoft wants Xbox Game Pass to literally be the thing that is as ubiquitous with streaming video games as Netflix is to content. Yeah. That's what they're shooting for. And there's, again, go off, but we need to kind of watch that with our wallets, etc. I don't know.
I think there is, as I mentioned, one of the other interesting things that's happened that may be related to this merger and may not, may just be a separate move, is that Blizzard is breaking exclusivity on several of its first-party titles, those being Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4, and bringing them to Steam. And that's kind of interesting, especially given this whole thing, because I can't decide if those are sacrifices being tossed to the wolves of reviews so that they can claim that they're not trying to prop up Game Pass with all of the ABK stuff, because Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 are already not being well received. So they can keep other first-party stuff on it, or if this is genuinely an attempt to earn more money by going to Steam, and what that all looks like.
My theory is they're attempting to not balance their books. They're trying to make this acquisition look like it can make money quickly.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
For their shareholders.
Yeah, that's also
69
true. Billion.
Billion.
Yeah. People were losing their mind when the U.S. Powerball lottery was 1.7 billion, right? That is a mind-boggling sum of money.
Yeah.
To pay for anything, right? $69 billion is more money than you can fathom.
Yeah. And so I think that's everything that we kind of wanted to cover with. This is going to change. This decision is going to change inevitably the way that we all consume a portion, at the very least, if not more, of our gaming content.
Yep.
And there are things that we can be happy about in small ways. New leadership, promises of not hindering unionization, better working environments for devs, hopefully a company that takes better care of its employees. But also we are barreling down the monopoly highway. And that is going to get very messy, not very quick, but quick enough.
Absolutely. And so we're going to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to keep an eye on it.
But we didn't want to end.
Yeah.
We listen, Bobby leaving. That's great. Bye-bye, Bobby. See you never.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to give you a dessert course with today's games for breakfast. That is, I feel like this is refreshing. This is an aperitif. Yeah, this is the most delicious limoncello you've had after a wonderful Italian meal. Will, talk to us a little bit about this.
So, I played a game called Inkbound on stream a while ago. It's made by the same devs that made Smash indie hit darling Monster Train. Inkbound is a third-person, turn-based, sort of ARPG-esque roguelite, where you travel through worlds of story and attempt to recover ink and fight back corruption and, do all the fantasy hero stuff. But it's got some really cool mechanics, and it's got multiplayer, and it's a wonderful little, I believe, $20 game. Asterisk. Until recently, there was Battle Pass and some cosmetic microtransactions that were put in to help fund the game during early access. But there aren't anymore. Not because the game's going away, but because the developer, Shiny Shoe, says they don't think it's right for the industry anymore. They removed all in-game monetization, and they said they're setting a change in, quote, industry and player sentiment. This comes to us from PC Games N. So they removed it all. They removed all of the battle pass, all of the monetization. They're giving anyone who purchased the battle pass is just getting the completed battle pass and a bunch of in-game currency. They're like, yeah, you bought the battle pass. You got all of it. You win. You just win the battle pass. That's it. And they're resetting everyone to the same spot so that people can enjoy the game without worrying about that monetization. For a game that has online server-supported multiplayer, which is wild in an era where we're talking about games adding more microtransactions and more DLC and more of this and more of that and more whatever.
And sorry, I was writing down some notes, but I want to make. Did you mention how they're treating their people that have bought their currency?
Yeah, they're just getting a bunch of.
They're doubling it. So anyone who's already purchased stuff to spend in this game, all they're doing is doubling the amount. Like whatever you bought, they're doubling it in their game as they shut this down.
Yep, they're like, all right, so it was a currency called Shinies. And the new currency, the in-game earned currency, is called Vault Dust. They're just like, every shiny is worth 2 Vault Dust. They're all converting automatically. Enjoy. So that's really good. I don't know. I love that this happened. I think this is, and again, it's all different for all different size companies, etc. But this is just a wonderful move. I think I saw some people in chat, in Brad, say that like they hadn't even heard of this, but this will make them like actually buy this game. And I think I'm kind of like in a similar boat. It's a lot of fun. It's a very good game on its own legs. There are a bunch of different character classes, and they all perform very differently. And it's all about area control, and it's a very clever game where you're trying to like knock enemies into each other and stuff like that. Very good. Matt, I believe it is time for some comments and questions from our friends over in Janet. Last week we asked about what you wanted to see in your gaming utopia.
What were some of the answers we had over in Janet?
We got so many. Two that really stood out were from Duran Man X. I essentially just want legal and ideally official emulation of older games, even for a price, as long as it's done well, including a wide variety of games that isn't time limited, so it doesn't end whenever the online or contract is up. Yeah, I think
that'd be really nice,
right?
That'd be such a lovely way to I don't know, to handle it. Like, again, not every company has like, I'm trying to think of how that would look, right? Like, could there be a third party company that like a delisted Steam?
Yeah.
Right? Where companies who don't have the infrastructure or the want or desire to keep selling the files for their games that are out of date, that are just not sold anywhere else, could send to host and be sold on a storefront. Like, almost like it'd be weird. It'd almost be like a library.
Yeah.
You could figure out a way, because there's something about selling things, like, it's careful. You have to be careful. Like, does it still work? Is the language around it enough to know that this is an archival thing or a thing for emulation, etc.?
Taz bringing up GOG. Yes, comma, but
yeah,
some of the older stuff and more obscure stuff on GOG doesn't quite work. It's close, but it's not quite there. I've had bad experiences with, like, particular archival titles that are from a very particular era of development, right? So, like, anything from the Power PC era that was Mac exclusive is kind of up a river right now.
Yeah.
So I think there's more to it than just pointing at GOG. GOG is a good start. Please don't get me wrong. There is more to it than that.
Yeah. But that would be cool. I like that. I like that as a utopian ideal.
Yep. And then the other idea that was presented was from Commence, who says, in my gaming utopia, no gaming company would be publicly traded. The need to provide dividends for shareholders stifles creative development and has helped lead to the squeeze customers for all the money mentality. An interesting idea. Is the real problem with gaming a capitalism? Is that the real problem all along? Very interesting.
I mean, if not the real problem, then a giant piece of it.
Yeah, I mean, as I felt like I had to include that, given the context of our conversation about
1,000%,
Monsieur Kotick.
Yeah.
And then we also talked a little bit about Wii U stuff. The only comment that I wanted to highlight there was from Hug a Werewolf, also excellent username.
Yeah, it's a great username.
With regard to Wii U online services, it'll be sad to see Splatoon 1 fully go offline. Just like in our gaming utopia, we want to preserve those things, right? Because it relies on Splatoon is such an interesting case because it relies on that online community to be for the majority of the gameplay, right? It does have single player, but, like, Splatoon leaving is like a big bummer, especially because that's such a relatively new IP. Right. And that feels kind of like a bummer.
They did, however, I believe in the month of September, sell one Wii U.
Just one.
Which is kind of neat.
Yeah. For the whole year. One Wii U.
Jumping back to the archival thing, I was having a conversation, I'm blanking on it, but at lunch, a friend of mine, she was saying how she wanted to try to find, it was an old Hercules Disney game, but it was about the underworld and it was on computer. And I think it was like a learning game. It had to do with either typing or math. And I've been trying to hunt for it to see if I can find that, like, that element of it. Chat, Janet, Brad, help me out with titles. I think it had Hades in the title. Yeah, things like that, like things that people remember from their childhood, that they want to play again. I think it'd be a good place to have that.
I know. I'm gonna go boot up some big idea games.
Yeah, well, you have in the past. Don't tempt Will with a good time.
Yeah.
Is there a Muzzy video game? There has to be, right?
Probably.
Is there a Muzzy video game? If not, the first cameo character with a K in Flixel Sticks will be Muzzy. You heard it here first. Oh my god. Oh my god, there is. No, this isn't real. Muzzy at the disco?
Amazing.
No. PC game, Muzzy at the Disco.
Better than a Panic at the Disco, surely.
No. Oh God. Okay, we're going. This is too deep of a hole to dive into for this.
Yeah.
Oh God, we're gonna have to look into that, Will.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Instead of Panic with the exclamation point at the disco, it's Muzzy at the disco.
There you go. 100%.
And this is a PC game. They're not saying which. I have to do more research. I can't answer all the Muzzy questions right now, chat.
Right. So, chat, for this week, what do you think about the Microsoft wrapping up the ABK merger? Is this enough to get you to buy Blizzard games? Are you expanding the list of games you won't play because Microsoft is now in with ABK? What do you think about that long list of titles? It's a lot, right? How do you feel about this whole merger now that it's finally real, right? We've been in negotiations and discussions and such for so long that it's hard to like really get a grasp on what we feel, because it might not have happened, but it has. What do you feel now that it has?
Yeah, I'd really like to know what the general consensus of y'all is, and it's okay to have multiple feelings toward this. You can be happy about one thing and upset or not happy about the other. That's how these things go. Tends to be. Yeah. Oh my God. Sorry, I got distracted by Ouroboros in the chat.
Right. For those that can't speak French, that's Panic at the Disco lyrics by Muzzy in French.
Okay, let's go. Let's leave now. I don't think...
Matt, take us away from here with your patented ending, the one that you do every time.
That's right. And you know what's so funny about this ending that is exactly the same every time we do it?
Uh-huh.
It's weird how the news cycle just, like, it all feels like it fits together, and it shouldn't. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us for Games for Breakfast. We're so glad you were here. Please let us know all the answers to the questions in the comments. And without further ado, Will, I'd like you to join me in this classic sign off. Actually, everyone at home can do it.
Right. Okay.
Goodbye to you. Goodbye to everything that I knew. You are the one I love. The one thing I wanted to get away from. Bye-bye, Bobby.